Elke. This lesson is called the picture plane. And the term picture plane is an art school term as opposed to picture frame. Picture plane is the surface on which you do a picture. So it's a canvas in the case of a painting, a piece of paper in the case of a drawing. But nowadays, there are just so many different picture planes that we have that we are using. So for example, the computer screen is a picture plane, TV screen. The screen an image is projected on in a movie theater is also a picture plane. So that's what I'm going to be talking about, the picture plane. And another concept that goes along with it is the idea of things being parallel to the picture plane, which means parallel to the horizontal and vertical edges of the picture plane. Now, Petit Mondrian is a painter known for doing paintings in which all the forms are parallel to the two edges of his picture frame. So these are all his paintings, and in one of his paintings, if this is the edge of the picture, and that's the picture plane, all shapes are parallel to the edges of the picture plane, and to put it more simply, his paintings are parallel to the picture plane. Now, with a camera, when you take a picture, your subject matter can be parallel to the picture plane or not parallel to the picture plane. It's considered to be two distinct, different types of composition, and we'll call them square, and this would be called considered square to the picture plane, and skew. Before we get to skew, I want to show you a picture of a room, this room I'm standing in, done square composition parallel to the picture plane. So here it is. So in this image, the main subject matter is square to the picture plane. And you might say to me, what about the table? The table is diagonal. That's true. But the point is, in all pictures, forms which go into the space are diagonals, always. We are talking about the main shapes. How do we know when an image is square to the picture plane? Because squares will appear in the picture, and those squares will be parallel to the picture plane. Here's another square in the piano, and main major lines will run parallel to the edges of your picture. So this vertical line, parallel to that. The line of the back wall is square to the picture plane. What if I take a picture of this room and this subject, skew to the picture plane? That looks like this. Now, you will see in a skew composition that there are no rectangles. We know that this is a rectangle, but it will come out as a trapezoid. And the main lines will not run parallel to the edges. The piano's line does not go parallel to the edge of the picture. This is vertical, but its sides are crooked to the picture plane. So this is skew. Now, what I did when I did this is I just turned the camera and pointed it toward the corner. But still, even in this composition, the verticals still run parallel to the picture plane. Is it possible to take a picture in which no lines are parallel to the picture plane? That would be this. And you see, the default view that people have in their heads is not this. It's this. It's with the verticals being vertical. And that will be the subject of a different lesson because it's important and part of this concept. So, here you have no line parallel to the picture plane. No line parallel to the edges of the picture. So now, let's look at a bunch of pictures. and decide which are square and which are skew. And I took them from Architectural Digest because it shows whole lots of rooms. And here they are. Square. In a square composition, objects on the back wall will appear as squares and rectangles. Even the building across the street. The main lines of the composition will run parallel to the outside edges of the picture. And to repeat again, the board on which I'm putting these drawings is a picture plane, but you can't see the edges of it. This piece of paper is a picture plane, and this composition is a static square composition. This is a skew composition. And that is not quite square on the back. And here is the carpet. The lines of the carpet run this way. Next example is going to be the opposite. Square composition with the back wall, move the camera, the back wall parallel to the picture plane, and squares appear on the back wall. Now another example. I don't even need to draw on this for you to see clearly that it is a square composition, a static composition. And very similar to the picture of my room, except my room's not so huge and elegant as this one, but still the back wall is square to the picture plane. Skew. Now, with skew compositions, just like in this where you can see a square, in skew compositions you will see, usually in the middle, the letter Y. And I'll go back a bit and show you. No, I guess I won't. Parallel to the picture plane. And what are the main lines? The longest lines are the main lines. And does this show squares in the composition or on the back wall? Yes. Now this is skew, and here is the Y that I'm talking about. The Y is the intersection of the two walls in a corner will form the letter Y. You cannot get this in the square composition. Square. Skew. Y. Almost skew, almost square. Now imagine that you're the photographer and you have your camera in your hand and you want this composition to be static or square, and you're just to the left of this table. But imagine this, if you take 2 steps to the right and turn, the back wall will change its angle and it will become, instead of like this, when you move the camera, that back wall will become like that. So the photographer decides the composition and not the room. The room does not have these characteristics. The camera and the photographer has these characteristics. You'll notice also that there is absolutely no way you're going to find this composition in any of these magazines. You will only find this in a movie where they want to show you that the main character lost his balance and is falling down, and this is where he is on the way to the ground or on the way to the floor. In that scene, they want to show that it's the case, and maybe in a movie it would be like this. But other than in motion pictures, the default setting of the camera and the camera person making the picture is vertical. And that's absolute characteristic that can only be gotten away from with a topic of a different lecture or lesson. This one doesn't have the letter Y in it because it doesn't show the whole image. It's a half of an image. Take a picture of this room, somebody said to the photographer, and I want the painting to be the most important element in the photograph, and I want it to look as a rectangle and not a trapezoid. So the photographer sets himself up centered to the subject matter. Now picture if you were the photographer and you were photographing this, what would happen to that image if you took 2 steps to the right and pointed your camera at it? What if you took 4 steps to the right? What would happen? I'll show you what would happen with a piece of paper. If you take 2 steps to the right, that picture will then look like this. On a wall that would look like this. And this thing here would be like that. And that thing there would be like that. Now how do I know that that's true? Because if you took 2 steps to the right, you would be closer to this edge of the picture and farther from that edge. And therefore, the side that you're closer to would be the bigger, because things nearer to you appear to be bigger. And this edge, which is farther from you, would be smaller. And this mirror, which is the farthest away if you're over here, would be smaller than that one. That is the importance of understanding the mechanics of the picture plane. And that's one I didn't send you. I sent you a package of photographs and that's in there. Why didn't I send this? I didn't send it because it wasn't put on best quality and has these little lines in it. And so it's still on in my table. So that is your lesson, but what's the assignment? Make 6 photographs. 7. Make 3 photographs that are square. Make 3 photographs that are skew. Make 1 photograph that is, I didn't give a name to it. Make 1 photograph that is no lines parallel to the picture plane at all. Make all 7 pictures suitable for inclusion in your scrapbook. Send them to me and I'll print them up and send them back to you. And that's your lesson for Monday. Have a good week.